Got to be like this. It's got to keep going up.
I've been in several things. I was in the drug business and I was in the oil business, but I'm not either one now, you understand?
I happen to run a little business on the side, a sort of sideline. Happens to be a rather confidential sort of thing, but you might make a nice bit of money.
Benjamin Franklin's field.
Welcome to Yellow Brick Road. Today, I'm going to do a fan request about a dude who was upset that a white boxer got beat up by a black boxer. That's right, Jared Taylor. But first, please consider donating to Devon's Journey to Recovery. The GoFundMe link is in the description box. If you have $5 or more laying around, you want to donate to a charity, you can at Devon's Journey to Recovery. GoFundMe link in the description box. All right. Someone has requested our good old pal, Jared Taylor. Now, Jared has denied my request of having a discussion because I didn't have enough followers. So I'm blaming you guys for that. I still have the email somewhere. But, yeah, I guess he's going to... name of his video is, if you see a pattern, close your eyes. Basically saying that if he's going to make all these connections about the lack of success of black people, and he's tying it, I guess it's tying to his bigger thing, which is about IQ, right? He's saying, oh, these guys have lower IQs, and that's why they struggle in the world, right? He'll throw away any type of nuance or anything going on in these areas. He'll bring up Haiti and Nicaragua. It's like, I'm sure, you know, pick a intellectual could write volumes on these areas in regards to, you know, things I might call immoral happening. But here's what I'll do. I'll play the first half because it makes black guys look bad. And the person who requested this video is out for looking. You know, we complain so much about the U.S. government. Even Barack Obama, he seems to ignore that. When we complain about it, he's like, why aren't you blaming black guys for things that happen in the world? And I say, you know what? You're right. So let's find some black people to blame. Here we go.
Hello, I'm Jared Taylor with American Renaissance. These videos aren't being promoted in the usual way. So if you like what you see, please send links to a few friends. How many of you are old enough to remember Idi Amin of Uganda? He took power in a military
Never heard of this guy.
coup in 1971. But was chased out of the country 8 years later in 1979. He slaughtered political and tribal enemies, and he said he ate their flesh, although he complained that people taste too salty.
Now, he's probably quietly making the insinuation that blacks are more animalistic, which is why they'd be okay with eating human flesh. I'm guessing that. That's somewhere in his psyche somewhere. Right.
He liked to be carried around on the shoulders of white people, all 258 pounds of him, and he loved to make white people pledge allegiance to him. Idi Amin married a...
Because it's natural, it's genetic that he wants that to happen. There's no conditional thing that would make him want to do that to white people. It's just genetic, it's inherent within his psyche. He's like, I must make white people serve me out of nowhere.
At least 6 women. His favorite wife was a 19-year-old
Also, the lack of inhibition, I believe that's a gene trait of black people. See, he can't help himself, so he wants to fuck anything he can get his hands on. That's also something inherent in us black people.
former go-go dancer named Sarah. And depending on...
Go-go dancer, once again, that's inherent to black women. They want to be go-go dancers. They want to dance in certain ways. The person who requested this video has sent me videos of black moms dancing at graduations and stuff. Like, this is what they do genetically. Even though I have this one video, it's like, there's no way. Like, you would think someone would think about it, like, there's no way that represents all of them. But in certain people's mind, it does, because
on which sources you read, he had anywhere from 32 to 54 children.
Fuck.
But today, I'd like to
Bin
talk
Laden,
about
this
how he
motherfucker.
treated the Indians who were living in Uganda. There were about 80,000 of them in 1972. They were about 1% of the population, but the BBC estimates they owned 90% of the businesses and paid 90% of the entire country's taxes.
Well, if you own 90% of the businesses, you would think you'd be paying more tax. Maybe I logically that might, maybe what I just said made no sense. That if you own 90% of the businesses, you'd be paying more in taxes. Also, for the fact that you can come and go to Africa, apparently whenever, right? Here's a photo of them. I guess just them arriving or leaving. Either way, he goes on to say that they leave, right? So it's like, So they must have money to be able to come and go from Africa, right? That might say something about why they might have more money. Maybe. And also he talks about, military coups and dictators and shit. Like, yeah, those guys are usually successful at helping their people out. They have a long track record of helping all the people of their country. They're definitely not greedy assholes. So yeah, when I started watching this, I was thinking like, oh, okay, I don't mind going over shitheads that happen to be black. I don't mind that. In fact, I've done it already, which is why I tell this guy a lot, like, dude, we did this already. Why are you only complaining on here? Do you want attention or something? What's up with you? I can talk to you off screen, whatever. You can come talk to me off camera, off live stream, off the channel. I don't mind. But, so it's like just repeating shit over and over again, which is why I'm kind of I'm not being so serious about this. I'm just like, oh, okay. Yeah, I kind of told you the problem was corruption a long time ago. But you must assume that I think the bad thing in the world is white people. White people, I hate them. I can't even sit next to them while I'm doing my podcast. Oh, you should do that one next, by the way.
Yeah, I plan on it. I do not want to be seen.
Or soon. All right, let's continue.
Amin decided they were parasites, and he kicked them out. Here are a few of them after they landed in Britain.
Yeah, because military dictators, they make the best decisions.
Amin handed out the businesses to his pals, but it just didn't work out very well. The economy shrank to less than half of what it was before. Idi Amin got the boot himself in 1979, and power changed hands 4 times in a brisk African sort of way until Yoweri Museveni took over in 1986.
I wonder what he means by that.
36 years and 5 terms as president later, Mr. Museveni is still in charge. One of the first things he did, though, was plead for the Indians to come back. And they did. There again, about 1% of the population. And guess how much of the country's taxes they pay? 65%. Isn't it remarkable how such a small number of people and a racial minority can make such a huge difference? Does that remind you of any other country? Maybe Zimbabwe?
Or if you look at guys that aren't making shit tons of money, but they move to foreign countries where their money is more valuable. It's like, I can get off living easy. It's almost like those like career tourists, sex tourists. They go to like Thailand and shit. They bang tranny prostitutes and whatnot. Excuse me, transgender prostitutes. Man, I only had $20. How come it's so valuable over here? I got room, board, and a blowjob. How did I do this? It's amazing. But yeah, once again, right, he brings up, like you said before, owning 90% of the businesses, and like, yeah, okay, you pay more in taxes then, depending on whatever tax system you're in, or you're supposed to. That would make sense to me. Oh, whoever makes the most money would pay the most in taxes. But once again, Jared's narrative is that it's because of the inherent low IQ that they can't function like farms or anything like that. You know, I mean, I would love to talk about him or talk to him about this in regards to like, oh, okay, so what's your philosophy on life? This might give me a better understanding of what you mean by things. Like, the dude who requested this video, he won't fucking let it out. Like, hey, what's your point with all this? Hey, man, where did you get your ideas from? Are they conditioned? Do you know what conditioning is? Is that make-believe? I mean, am I smarter than you? What does that mean about the whole race and IQ thing? Are you the smartest guy in the world? If not, then you should just be listening to whatever these other people say. How about Jared Taylor? What's his IQ? Are there people with higher IQs than him telling him he's wrong? Do we listen to them? What's going on here? If they're smarter than him, that means their answers are better, right? Based on this little thing here. Based on this, I guess, idea here. Oops, sorry. So Jared should be listening to them. But then if you tell me, oh, well, your IQ doesn't mean you're right about everything, then, or it doesn't mean you don't have ulterior motives or anything, then it's like, okay, so IQ is not a barometer for moral intelligence. Oh, is moral intelligence a real thing? There's so many questions here that go unanswered with this guy, which is why, also, I would definitely give credence to social media things, suppressing them and shit like that. I can definitely see that, because you're dealing with other dum-dums. All right? We're like, oh, you need to sanitize everything, make it clean. I don't want to hear these ideas. I'm like, let them out so I can fucking smush them. But, I think there's part of the reason why there might be a fall off for Jared is there's nothing more to his ideas, right? Even when he's going over social events, there's plenty of things fucking missing from them. And it's like, is it just this basic binary, here's all the groups, here's their IQs, and this is how they behave? So I need a little bit more than that, Jared. Give me some magic, man. Tell me what life's all about. Come on, Jared. It's Jared with a D. He has a D in his name. Alright, so once again, he's going to go... The whole point of this video is to... Do you see any coincidences from the particular statistics I point out? It's I'm guessing the further... I don't know if it's indoctrination. I don't know if that's the word. Well, it's the point... To put out his point of view. Alright, I'm gonna shut up and just play the rest of the video, even though I kind of explained it already. But I'll just play it so that the person who requested this doesn't, shit their pants or whatnot. Doesn't cry about it. You didn't play the whole thing. That last sentence could have changed someone's mind, man. Here we go.
Whites were never more than about 8% of the population when the country was called Rhodesia. This
Rhodesia?
When it was still known as Solomon.
Like Cecil Rhodes Rhodesia? That one?
And here is another. This is Ladies' Night at a Salisbury nightclub. And here is the headmistress and school prefects of Eveline High School in Bulawayo in 1961. This is the cover of the tourist magazine Rhodesia Calls, December 1976. And meet Miss Rhodesia, 1965, when there still was a Miss Rhodesia. It is true, Rhodesia was segregated, and blacks had essentially no role in government, but they had a higher standard of living than blacks in any black-run country.
He said this before, like, oh, I used to never be like this, but then I went to Africa and they told me they were upset that the colonizers were leaving because their economy suffered because the colonists were leaving. It's like, So you're essentially saying they're better off with a, I guess, different race controlling their economy and country. And that's his argument. But I'm like, man, okay, let's say all the, it's only black people left in whatever country. It's like, do they have doctors and shit? Or do they just scream at diseases and they go, to get them to go away?
Scream and dance.
Scream and dance, yes. Aren't there, like, doctors from these places?
Which doctor?
So it's like, if there are, it's like, you tell me someone couldn't figure out farming? There's got to be something else to this equation. And it's very weird. Like, I don't know, people bring up the Nigerian argument. That seems to be the, it's not as much of a counter, but they bring up the Nigerian argument. And then you'll hear Nigerian people of heritage will say, like, my parents made me do that. Like, they wouldn't let me do anything unless my school grades were good. Then you look at statistics where their success rate, as far as like at a college level, is higher than all the other immigrants coming into the country. And I'm like, what explains that? Does Jared go over that? I don't know. I don't know if he does or not. I'll look it up after. I don't feel like doing it right now, but you know. Jared should do that. Walk up in his nice suit and say, Kamaru Usman, you are low IQ. It's just, it's the warrior gene. His body's all mangled and shit. He's gonna recite poetry to you while he's strangling you. Alright, let's continue.
1980, international pressure forced white Rhodesians to turn the country over to the black revolutionary Robert Mugabe. In 2000, Mugabe started taking commercial farms from white owners.
I don't know much about the Mugabe dude. I know there's a line from Nas who says, and President Mugabe standing over innocent bodies. It's almost like he doesn't like him. Nas is Caucasian, by the way. Nazir Jones. The dude who wrote Ether, Caucasian man. Excuse me, he's Ashkenazi Jew.
And passing them around to his pounds. In just 3 years,
There's also one.
wheat production
Bob Marley's
fell
son
by
was
more
on the
than
track, too.
90%, corn by 60%, and tobacco, the
He's
number one
Asian.
export earner, by 75%. Zimbabwe got the world's worst inflation ever. In mid-November 2008, inflation was about 80 billion percent per month. Billion with a B. Here is a $100 trillion bill. That's trillion with a T. By that time, per capita GNP was only
His wife must be
1/3
miserable.
of the cabinet.
I always think that.
90% of the whites left the country. Down to nearly 300.
That's the funniest I've ever done. The whites left the country. It's just one dude on a bike. Go on, son. That's hilarious.
Look at the hat.
And it's like the fucking crocodile hunter looking motherfreaker.
That dude from Holes.
Steve Irwin looking motherfucker. Holes. Oh, Jesus.
You know what I'm talking about?
The Shia LaBeouf movie? Nah, but I'll play it.
1,000 to 29,000. In 2017, Robert Mugabe was kicked out in a coup after 30 years in power. The new guy, Emerson Mnangagwa, says he wants whites to come back. And a few have come back to farms that look like this. We'll see how long they stay. Well, Madagascar has a population of 26 million. Not 1 in 1,000 of them is an Indian from India, but they play a huge role in the economy. The richest man in the country is Ilas Akbaroli, worth almost $1 billion. His grandfather came from India. If you look up the 10 richest men in Madagascar, most of them look like this guy.
Now, once again, no nuance, no how did they make their money, not what did they do. Like Cecil Rhodes is like, I guess his value was a lot, right? A shitload of money. But it's like, how'd you do that? How'd you get the money? You see, these guys usually have to throw morality out the door. right? They just say conquering is valuable. It's what nature wants. They have to do that in order for this shit to make sense for them, right? Because we have to be better no matter what. And if we bring up morality, we have to follow. What is so wrong with conquering? You're just mad because it's whites doing it. Oh, that dude was in Watchmen. Yeah.
Or like this guy, rather than like the people of Madagascar who look like this.
If they knew you used their picture, they'd beat the fucking shit out of you, son. It's like, I don't know. It's like, what?
Every coast in West Africa, only 0.5% of the population is of Lebanese descent, but they control 50% of the industrial sector, all the shopping malls, and 75 to 80% of the import-export trade. Africa isn't the only place where small numbers of people make a huge economic difference. Overseas Chinese dominate the economies of Southeast Asia in what is called the Bamboo Network. In all of Southeast Asia, Chinese are less than 10% of the population, but they control an estimated 2/3 of the retail trade and own 80% of the publicly traded companies. Local people in Malaysia, Indonesia, the Philippines, they're just bit players. 86% of Southeast Asia's billionaires are Chinese, and most of the rest are Indians, like the ones in Uganda. Amy Chua has written a whole book about the way small minorities can dominate economies if the locals let them, and how much resentment this can cause.
Now, once again, do you see how certain people will have to turn off, make sure morality does not exist first? They will fight tooth and nail to make sure morality doesn't exist first. And then they'll make these arguments. They're just dumber, that's why they don't do this. What if there's just someone who's just like, I just want, a small house, live with my family, that's it, take care of some dogs, and then that's it. It's like, some dudes are like, I want all of it. Money, money, money. There's black guys like that. Did I not just, is my intro, is that not playing Jay-Z doing a song called $100 Bills? Is he not smarter than Jared Taylor? He made more money. He owns more property. He could buy Jared Taylor's life right now. Whatever shit you own, Jared Taylor, he could buy that and still have millions left over. So could Dr. Dre, right? He could probably do that.
For sure. Master P as well.
And Barack Obama, he could probably do that. He ran a whole fucking country.
So that means he's smarter than Jared Taylor.
That's as far as success goes, if that's the measure of intelligence.
As far as the requester's opinion.
Yeah, true.
Oh, shit.
This is just like the last fan request video I did. Like, I've murked you so many fucking times to where I'm taking your fan request videos as like jokes now. Like, I'm not being as serious as I usually can, because this is the same argument I went over already. This is just the same argument. He's just using a different measure. Before he was saying IQ directly, now he's saying, well, what's the... Seems to be a lot of coincidences here. What did all these people look like? Just skips over any type of nuance. Anyways. It's weak. It's like, come on, man. You could do better than that. Send me another Judge video. I'll do my best. Or Schopenhauer.
You get big differences in wealth in the United States, too. Jews, as they do just about everywhere else.
Yeah, there's a big gap between Jay-Z and Jared Taylor as well. Oh, the big bad white man, huh? I'm just using his logic. Oh, I'm smarter than him, by the way, too. I'm smarter than Jared Taylor. I'm smarter than Jared Taylor. I'm smarter than Jay-Z, too.
Make the most money. In 2016, modern Orthodox Jews had a median household income of $158,000. Who comes next? As you can see from this Wikipedia table, Indian Americans are in second place with over 110,000. Then East Asians with 85,000, whites at 67,800, Hispanics close to 47,000, and 30,500 for blacks. These are huge differences. The median Indian family makes 3 times as much money as the median black family.
See, if you look at that list, my genealogy is number 6 and 7. I'm at the 2 bottom parts of that equation there. And I'm smarter than Jared Taylor. Well, we'll take an IQ test. No, we won't. I'll do that too. Fuck it. I'll do that too. It'll be fun. You know, people's whole lives are like riding on it. Like, no, come on, Jared, come on. Me, it's like, I don't give a shit either way, dude. You're fucked. Now you're gonna have to talk to me.
And out of 96 different groups, who makes the least money? Somali Americans.
Come on, Colby,
Median
beat
household
Usman,
income of
please.
$24,000. Now, I'm warning you. If you see any patterns here, close your eyes. You should certainly not notice that just about any outsiders who move to Africa do better than the Africans.
Yes, it's exactly what I'm doing. See? Alright, now to get real about this. I took a lot of time studying, like, marketing type of things. Which is why I point out Cenk Uygur using the progressive. She's a progressive. She's kind of progressive. She's almost there. She's number 2 progressive. And I notice it sounding like this sounds like branding. Like you're pushing a market on me. Rather than just being honest about, like, okay, it seems like this person, like, okay, like they're trying their best to do good, man. It's just their ideas suck. Or she has okay ideas, she's trying though. Or this person just probably corrupt and in it for money. And like making assessments individual by individual. But when I hear something like that, like, if you don't accept everything I just said as hard truth, you're just closing your eyes. It's like, no, I'm not. I think you're wrong. You're just closing your eyes, afraid to look at the truth. Jordan, you're just afraid of looking at the truth. It's like, what? That's a way, I think, you can mess with people psychologically by doing that. Just being real with you. Because then all of a sudden, anything said counter to that is just you closing your eyes. Do you see that little thing that can happen? I'm not saying he's purposely using a technique. I'm just saying that is a technique I've heard of. Don't criticize Israel or you're anti-Semitic. It's like, well, Israel's a government. No. Israel is the land for Jews. It's the Jewish homeland. Yeah, but so you can criticize Israel because it does governmental stuff. That's what I'm doing. No. You're criticizing the Jewish homeland. You're not criticizing Israel. It's like, wait. So whatever I say, you'll turn it into me doing this thing. But if you say it, you're just criticizing a government. Like, oh, I see the technique now. I can smell it. I can see it now. Once again, I'm not saying he's purposely doing some sort of technique thing. He could be. I definitely believe that. Since, morality is not a part of the equation here. It's just not. Or at least it seems like it's not. His fans, definitely not. In fact, they tell me that. I did a video talking about Jared Taylor in regards to, is he an atheist? Is Jared Taylor an atheist? It's like, oh, he's... Okay, so most people are saying, yeah, he's atheistic or something like that. Because I'd be like, because if you're religious, it's like, you got a lot of explaining to do. But if you're just materialist, atheist, there's nothing more to life, just, biological organisms moving around in certain ways. And I say, okay, fair enough. You're a robot. You have no self. There's no meaning to life. You're just a bag of blood and cells and shit, and veins and arteries and muscles and skin. That's all you are. And I want your fans to soak that in and make, like, really realize, like, this is what life is. Life is nothing, because I'm not here to experience it. There's a brain existing that's tricking itself into recognizing itself as a self so that I can continue on biological processes like reproduction and stuff. Right? The only reason you play that video game and enjoy it is your brain pumping out chemicals, tricking you into enjoying it so that you will someday reproduce. It's not actual enjoyment. You don't actually enjoy anything. There is no you there to do that. That's why I sort of asked that question. I'd love to get answers. I doubt I get them. Which is why I moved on from talking about Jared Taylor so much. It's like, oh, okay, this is boring now. You're just repeating the same thing in different ways, right? Is this whole video not just about there's levels to each group of races, and it must be behavioral or IQ based or something genetic based, and that's why their finances work out this way, even though Jay-Z makes more money than me and owns more shit than me and could buy my whole, net worth and have millions left over, probably hundreds of millions left over. So it's not, I don't know, no individual diagnosis. It's all group based because that keeps the narrative going. For what reason? I think he believes what he's saying. I think there's some volition there. It's just, empty egotistical volition, right? Like, I wasn't joking. Like, I've heard him say, like, I remember when I was just inherently cheering for the white fighter. That's why I keep cracking that joke. It's like, okay. You sure it was just his skin color you were attracted to? Maybe it was something else. Maybe it reminds you of someone you know. Or, I don't know, a facial expression he made. Or you're just like, oh, that's cool. I've had that. But with... Actually, let me think about it. Who was like the earliest characters that I was like, this is cool? Might be Batman. Might be Bruce Wayne Batman. So I guess the genetic thing didn't work on me. Might be It might have been Turtles, actually. Might have been Ninja Turtles. They're not even human. Yet somehow I was attracted to their thing. It might have been Ghostbusters. But then there's a black one now. But I kind of like the scientist dude the most, Egon. So as a kid, I liked to fancy myself as smart. I would memorize things and then say them in class before everyone else did. Like, oh, today we're going to talk about primary colors. I'm like, red, yellow, blue. Or, kids learning like 1 + 1. I was learning x + 2 = 4. I was learning like basic algebra. I was like, yes, I stand at the top of the mountain. I stand on the shoulders of giants.
You don't like Stone Cold, you like Booker T.
But it wasn't Stone Cold. It was Michaels. Shawn Michaels was my first, like, oh, this is so cool. So yeah, actually, if I look at it, since this is like a whatever video, anyways, I'll just rattle some things off. Let's see. My first like entertainment heroes were the Ghostbusters or Ninja Turtles, somewhere in that range. Here's one. Here's a black one. Hank Aaron. As far as athletes go, Hank Aaron, Michael Jordan. There's some black guys there. Wrestling, Shawn Michaels from The Jump. The fucking hang gliding thingy, whatever, from the ceiling at WrestleMania against Bret Hart, the Iron Man match. And the white and gold. I thought that was cool. You got Bruce Wayne up there with Batman. My favorite song as a little kid, before I knew I had to listen to hip-hop because I'm black. Before I knew that. My mom showed me this like a couple of years ago. She took out a little school project I did for kindergarten, and it was supposed to write down your favorite song. You know what my favorite song was? It was Ace of Base, I Saw the Sign. I saw the sign, it opened up. That fucking song. Bunch of white dudes and white chicks. I had no idea what they looked like. I just, I like the way this sounds. I still do. I like that song. Go fuck yourself if you don't. So, basically what I'm saying is, know thyself. Then go from there. If you don't know something, be honest with yourself. Be yourself. Know yourself. Know you don't know something until you know it. Then you say you know it. Alright, that's it for me. Please subscribe if you like. Comment, agree, disagree. Tell me what you think. Is Jared right? Is it all about race? Is life all about skin color? And is it all about genetics? Is it all about neurons in the brain? You tell me. Don't forget to donate. Devon's Journey to Recovery. GoFundMe link in the description box. So all that said, give this video a thumbs down.
Say you wanna get in, and then you wanna get out. When you get the money to buy yourself a castle, how will you wear your leisure? You zipper back and front on the fence together. Weekends in leather, flip to the right and slip back to the left.